you're a professional?
Are you?
That's it, Clark. Show 'em who's boss.
Oh, we're all in this together.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the Clark Griswold YouTube channel. I am Mr. Clark Griswold and I am happy to have you guys here and joining me today. If you have not subscribed and you are a first timer to the channel, then welcome. You can hit that subscribe button down below, and when you click that bell gives you notifications for when I send out videos just like this one, our daily setups, our watch lists. This one is for Monday, April 18th. Okay, so I also put out like top 5, top 3 plays watch lists, and I'm gonna go through. Trader Tammy asked me how I go through those, and it's nothing fancy. It's my guess is as good as your guess on what I think is going to be a high probability play or not, but I'll go through that with you guys today when I find one that I think will be on the top 5, okay? Just so you guys can kind of see. I also put out a bunch of learning tools. There's 30 and 30 videos. There's 3-1 setups. There's outside bar setups, inside bar setups, candlestick patterns, candlestick numbers for the Strat and what they mean. Okay, so all kinds of good stuff. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button. And without further ado, guys, let's get into this watch list for Monday, April 18th. And the first one I have on the list is Neo. And as you guys know, if you watch my videos a lot, Neo is one of my favorite stocks to trade because it has these really, really big swings and there's really good opportunity to make a lot of good money on Neo. Okay, so Neo has an outside, even if this wasn't Neo has a 3-1 setup, okay, or an outside inside bar. I love these setups, okay? They're super, super powerful, and they tend to do really, really well when we're trading going into the next day. I'm just going to go back in time. They're a rare pattern, that's the other thing. They don't happen a lot, and even if I go back in time, the last one on Neo was August 27th. Okay, and if we go look what it does, and they don't always work out. I don't know what this one is looking like, but we're gonna have let's have a peek to see what it looks like. So the last one we had was right here. Okay, August 27th. We had this outside bar, inside bar, and look at the drop on it, okay? We went from, call it 37.81 all the way down to 36.71. So that's a $2 drop on a $30 stock. And if you're playing options, that's a big, big win, a big gain for you guys, okay? So that's part of the reason I like playing Neo. I just like the company in general, but the big swings are the one thing. Another thing that I determined, so when I'm looking at top 5, I like playing Neo. That's number 1 for my top 5s anyways. Number 2, I look at the setup. We've got a 3-1 setup. We have a 1-3 setup. We have a double inside bar or a double 1 setup. I'm looking at those plays for the top 5s, okay? The other thing I'll look at is cheap premiums and a bid-ask spread that is tight. So a stock that is very liquid. Neo is all of those things, okay? So that's why they would be on my list, okay? So we can take calls on Neo at $20.40, puts to go short at $19.52. If you are not playing options, you're playing common stocks, do not short unless you know exactly what you're doing. Okay? So the other thing on this Neo play is this pink line is our weekly trigger. Okay? So we have a 2 down that finished green, and we have this weekly trigger here on the weekly chart. Okay? So if we do break to the upside on this 3-1 setup and hit this first target, which is the top of this wick, then we are likely swinging Neo all week to the high side, okay? So that is Neo. Next up is SPY. And again, SPY is the same thing with Neo. If there is a good setup on it, I will always play SPY because the liquidity is high, the spread between the bid ask is small, like pennies. I like trading SPY. You can make a lot of money on SPY with the swings that it has. You can also lose a lot. So the other thing with this one, this again, SPY will be on my top 5. We have a rare pattern here. We started with a 3-1, then we went outside, okay? So we broke to the high side. We didn't hit any targets and then came all the way back down. You could have played Sarah Strat Sniper's 50% rule on this one. And maybe I should do a video on that one for you guys to help you guys out with that. I don't have one yet. But so now we've got a 1-3 setup. And again, 1-3, if you want to call it a 3-1-3 or a 1-3 setup, is rare. Okay, we have the time frame all to the downside. So this would be another one that I'm looking at as my top 5. So we can take calls on SPY at 444.73 or puts at 437.69, the green lines being our targets, pivot points, magnitude, whatever you want to call it. That's where we take our targets. AMD. Okay, AMD, the same as SPY. AMD is liquid. It's easily tradable. And so AMD, the premiums are small. The bid-ask is spread is small. So this, again, is another one that I would look at for my top 5. Will necessarily be on there? I don't know. It probably will be, guys. But that's how I look at it. So we can take calls on AMD at 98.43, puts at 92.89. Hey, DocuSign, here we go. What did I talk about in the beginning of the video? A double inside bar. So inside bars, guys, are all I traded when I first started trading options, or when I actually got good at trading options. And so I looked for one setup, and that was a 1 bar or an inside bar. Inside bars show consolidation within a stock, spring-loaded, okay? And they get tight, 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 and it's like a spring. And it's getting ready to explode to one direction or the other. Okay, so that's what we have here. We've had that for 2 straight days now. So I would look for something to really explode in one direction or the other on DocuSign. I'm going to go back in time, and the other thing, it's a rare pattern. It doesn't happen very often. And there isn't another one on DocuSign, okay? On the daily chart anyways. So we have a double inside bar. We can take calls at 104.99, puts at 99.19. We have this full time frame continuity to the downside outside of the day and the week, because these will change depending on what happens on Monday. If you want that indicator, you can go into time frame continuity, and the author is Board Rider B. I've had a bunch of people ask me on Twitter what indicator that is. There you go. That's what the indicator is. So yeah, DocuSign again. Neo, SPY, AMD, DocuSign. I can tell you right now, those will probably be on the top 5 list. We're going through them right now. D-Dog, inside bar, calls at 142.85, puts at 135.35 based on this inside bar again. Not breaking the high or the low of the previous candle. We have this weekly trigger here. Okay, on D-Dog. D-Dog's premiums, I think, are fairly cheap. And the bid-ask spread is usually quite small. Next up is Lucid. Lucid has an inside bar as well. The time frame is going to the downside. So that's just one of the things I look at. The play being a 1 bar. This trending downwards is another thing. And I guess, I don't know, maybe it trends up, but I'm just looking at probabilities and high probabilities of how things work and how they may work, and that's how I'm picking my top 5, okay? It's nothing fancy. So on Lucid, we can take calls at 22.11, puts at $20.19. Okay, I'm going to try to go through these a little bit quicker here. Palantir has an inside bar, time frame to the downside, and again, the day and the week are unknown until we hit Monday. Calls we can take at 12.92, puts at 12.41. Guys, if you like what I'm showing to you guys, and if you like the videos, you can give me a thumbs up down below. I'd appreciate it. And if you think the videos suck, well, feel free to give me a thumbs down. I don't mind. Let me know what you don't like about the video, though. So Tesla, again, here's one of my really, really big plays, really big setups that I really like to look at. A 3-1 setup on Tesla. Tesla I don't normally play because the premiums are a little bit higher, so especially for people with the smaller accounts. You guys won't want to be looking at these, and that's why I don't usually put these on the top 5 list, guys, because a lot of people do have smaller accounts and they don't trade these, and I don't tend to trade stocks with high premiums. It's just not my thing, okay? I'd rather buy 10 contracts of something than 1 contract of something or 2, and be able to take some profit as it goes up and leave some runners on. That's my style, and it doesn't have to be yours, but it's mine, okay? So calls on Tesla at $1,012.71, puts at $982.19. And if you're looking for targets on these, just take somewhere a target in between the trigger and your first, or a strike price, sorry. If you're looking for a strike price, somewhere in between your first trigger and your first target, okay? So somewhere in that range. Okay, next up we've got Twitter. Twitter has a 2 up that finished red. A 2 up meaning we just only passed the high side of the previous candle. Red meaning we finished to the bottom side, okay? We finished red on the day. Okay, so when I see those, it gives me probability that we have a continuation downwards. So this would be a 1-2-2 reversal setup. Inside bar, 2 up, and we're looking for a 2 down, okay? So the trigger is at 44.72, and your targets are just the bottoms of the preceding wicks. Here, and then you've got this big gap to fill on Twitter right here. So again, that's another thing that you can look at if you're looking to make a high probability trade. At some point, this gap likely gets filled. Where does it happen? Does it happen tomorrow or on Monday? Maybe partially, but those are just some of the things that I look at, okay? XEL Energy, again, double inside bar on XEL. So we can take calls at 74.83, puts at 74.19. We're at the top of a broadening formation, okay? So are we likely to continue downwards? It's very likely. We also have this weekly trigger down here. So again, if we hit this trigger to the downside, target 1, target 2 is actually our trigger for the weekly swings to the downside, okay? All different things that I look at when I'm looking at high probability trades. Okay? Apple has a big outside bar, time frame to the downside, calls at 171.27, puts at 165. Tammy Trader asked me something else, and I can't remember what it was. And I was going to answer it for her, and now I don't remember what it was. I'll get back to you in a tweet anyways, Tammy. Airbnb, 2 up that finished red. We've got a big magnitude, big target to hit here to the downside, okay? I'm just going to move this trigger down slightly, and we can go for puts at 170.29 on Airbnb. ATVI, 3-1 setup, okay? This will likely be on my top 5, okay? Just because it is that 3-1 setup, and really that's the only reason. It's a rare pattern, and they tend to do really well. So we can look for calls at 79.17, puts at 78.84. Bed Bath & Beyond, inside bar, calls at 17.66, puts at 16.03. That's what it was. She asked me what kind of setup I have. So basically, guys, I'm going off a laptop and an iPad. That's all I use. Okay? And she's asking me how I get into these trades. So I'm looking at those top 3, top 5 plays, and I'm just sifting through them. And worst case, guys, just put a little, right click on your, this is for trading view, but right click on it and just add an alert. Okay, add an alert on there, crossing down, and then you just create it. And it'll give you a warning. And once we hit that, switch over to that ticker and just take a look. Okay, and you can switch down to the smaller time frames and to see what direction they're going. And then the other thing you guys can do is just switch to this 4 template screen, okay? So then you can set this up however you want. You can have your, let me just do this. you can have this as your daily chart. Okay, you can have an hourly chart here. Doesn't matter. Do it however you want. If you want to do 6 charts, do 6 charts. Right, in a 5-minute. And then you can look at multiple time frames. And if they are all trending in that direction, if we go on to the day here, if they're all trending to this downside or this upside, well, then you know that that trade is in force and we can take it, okay? But you can start with this orange line right here as your indicator. Right click, make an alert, and then when it does, go in and see what everything else is doing on the 5 or the 15. Okay, and if it's all trending down, then we're likely in for a good trade. But if we're triggering here anyways, I'm probably taking it, okay? So let me just switch back to, where are we here? I'll switch back to the single. And I do trade with these 4 screens a lot of times, guys. It is very helpful. Okay, I don't do it all the time, but I do use it a fair amount. Okay, and if you look at some of my older videos, I have used it in the past on my videos, okay? So BBBY, I believe we went through that. I'm just going to switch back to the daily. So Carnival Cruise Lines is next. Carnival Cruise Lines has a 2 up that finished red, so we can look for puts at 1945. Green lines are your targets. Colgate, 2 up that finished red, puts at $80.89. DraftKings inside bar, we can take calls at $16.87, puts at $16.30. Etsy inside bar, calls at $117.31, puts at $112.74. IWM 2 up that finished red. We also have a Rev Strat, so a 1-2-2 reversal called a Rev Strat. Okay, so puts at $198.84. Moderna 3-1 setup. Okay, look for this on the top 5s again. It's just it always will be. They're a powerful pattern. I will always have them on there. Okay, so we can look for calls on Moderna at 170.84, puts at 164.63. Marvel inside bar, calls at 63.62, puts at 60.87. Watch the time frame here, guys. Oracle ORCL 2 up that finished red. We can look for puts at 79.33. Again, this becomes a high probability trade when the month, the quarterly, the yearly, and depending on what happens. But if this goes if the day and the week go red to start off, well, you can take this and it'll likely be a good play. Your first target is way down here, so you have a good ratio here to make some good gains on Oracle on Monday, okay? PFE 2 up finished red, puts at 53.01. Plug Power inside bar, calls at 26.92, puts at 25.72. This blue line is our, how many days do we go back here? 1, 2, I'm just going to go to the month. The blue lines that I have on here are my monthly triggers. Okay, and we've already triggered once and retraced. So again, when I'm looking at high probability plays, if we continue downwards, it is likely based on the fact that we have triggered to the downside on the monthly already, okay? So for us to hit the next couple targets is not out of the range or out of the question on plug, okay? Next up is Space, SPCE, double inside bar on Space. This could very well be on the top 5 as well. Okay, 917 calls, 880 puts, double consolidation 2 days in a row. Okay, Uber Technologies, 2 up that finished red, shooter candle. Again, all these little things, shooter candles, hammer candles, they all come into effect when I'm looking at high probability plays when I give you guys a top 5. It's not just one thing it's not as easy to nail it down as just saying that's the one thing I look for. It's a bunch of things that all come together, okay? So we can take puts on this one at $32.64 on Uber. And that's the list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are getting some valuable information out of this. I'm really here just to help you guys and try and help you guys become better traders. I joined the 30 and 30 Discord, so you guys can go join there. Check that out as well. And until the next one, guys, have a good long weekend, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.